Hey everyone, it's Karina with Karina Loves to Plan. Welcome back to my channel. I am here for another ink haul video, but I'm going to do this slightly differently because I have, I guess, 15 inks over 15 inks over 30 days coming, and I will be doing the paper comparisons then, but I won't be doing a paper comparison here for this ink haul just because I know that that is coming up. But I have these 5 inks here. 2 of these I purchased in Vancouver when I was there at the Vancouver Pen Shop. I literally went from the airport straight to Vancouver Pen Shop, and they were so nice. And then Sam also sent me these 3 inks as well, so I'm very excited to swatch these. So I'm going to swatch these on my Galen leather notebook, which has 52 GSM Tomoe River paper. I'm going to be swatching on Rhodia paper because this is what I keep my, well, every ink swatch I have ever tried, or every ink I have ever tried since the beginning of my fountain pen journey, I've swatched on here. And then I'll also be swatching in my little A5 rings here where I keep the different color families of all the inks. What I'll be using for swatching, let's put these down here. I'll be using my Speedball B nib on my River City Penco nib holder, and then my Kakimori brass nib as well. Let's get started. So the first ink is going to be Robert Oster Van Pen 86. So this is an exclusive that the Vancouver Pen Shop did with Robert Oster, and basically the name kind of signifies the shop here. So Van Pen is Vancouver Pen Shop, and then 86 is the year that the shop opened. And when I went to the shop, I basically said to them, what is your one exclusive thing that anybody who comes to this shop has to have that is signature Vancouver Pen Shop? And they said it is this ink. What am I doing? Whoa. So it's so wet on this Kakimori brass nib. So Van Pen 86, and then let's do these figure 8s, and then look at the different line widths here. When they said it was like a brownish gray, I was like, done. Of course I'm gonna get it, because isn't that lovely? Absolutely lovely. So then what I do on these Rhodia sheets, and I keep doing this because I like keeping, I guess, a catalog of all of the inks that I have ever tried. And I started them on this Rhodia paper when I first started my fountain pen journey 3 years ago, and I just think it's so cool to look back at every ink that I have ever tried. Some I still have in my collection, while others I have not. So it's just really cool to be able to see that. This is currently inked actually in my Quebeco Sport. So, right, that is, look at the way that that's drying. Oh, I love that. So that is Robert Oster Van Pen 86. The next ink I have is Sailor Ink Studio 530. I mean, obviously that color on the top there got me. This was an ink that I have never tried and was never on my radar to try. So let's see. I like that. It's more of like a reddish pink, but let's see how this dries here. Oh, look at that already. So pretty. I'm going to, first of all, put this in an ink sample vial holder so I don't spill it, and do my circles here. I used to do circles like with, I would put a couple of drops here with a pipette and then swirl it around with the top of an ink sample vial holder, but doing this with a Speedball nib just saves me a step. Cool. Now putting some on my Kakimori brass nib here. Let's do the line widths first and see what that looks like. Oh, wow. That is so pretty. There's a little bit of chromo shading in that. Really cool. So Sailor Ink Studio 530. I can't wait to see how that dries. It looks more red on the Rhodia paper, but this will be a fun one to use for sure. So Sailor Ink Studio 530. The next ink is Dominant Industry Dutch Moorland, and there's a little bit of shimmer in here. So let's make sure I get all of that at the bottom, like it's stuck there. Hold on. All right, so I've never heard of this ink before, and Sam basically chose a few that she thought I would like, and oh my goodness. It reminds me a little bit of like Kitsune Biori by Sailor. Wow. Oh, hold on. Let's make sure I'm doing things in the proper order. Adding this to the Rhodia paper. So it's got a light brown base with a hint of shimmer. I really, really like that. The shimmer though got stuck at the bottom of the sample. So we'll see if I'm actually putting anything on the paper here. I'm going to agitate this again. Looks like there's some that's still stuck on the bottom, but it looks like it's getting pretty well distributed here. Whoops, keep doing that. So I'm gonna place my Speedball B-nib in here. And so this is, I'm gonna get some on my hand, I know it. Dominant Industry. And this is Dutch Moorland. Oh wow, I really like that. It's such a light pink shimmer, and it's actually really legible considering how light it looks. Let's look at the, oh yeah, look at that, beautiful. Yeah, it really reminds me of Sailor Kitsune Biori, which is one of my favorite inks. So Dutch Moorland, lovely. Oh, I like that. I can't wait to see it dry. The next one is Troublemaker Sepia Hour, and I have tried a few, I say a few, maybe like a handful of Troublemaker inks in my fountain pen journey, and I have mixed feelings about them, but wow, oh my gosh. So it goes on like coral, but it almost dries really light. Wow, interesting. Where's my Rhodia paper? Oh, I was not ready for this. Well, there it is. But it's getting quite light, so I wonder how legible it's gonna be. It goes down almost like this brown orange, but then it really lightens up. I wonder if this is gonna be a dry ink once in a pen. But pretty, it is pretty. I almost see in the Tomoe River paper, like almost like reflections of yellow, or maybe like pools of yellow. It's really interesting. So now I'm gonna use my Kakimori brass nib here. And I don't know if you can see, but the way that that Dutch Moorland is drying is very beautiful. Oh, look at that. So it's more like a peach. Yeah, look at that. So this is Troublemaker, Sepia, Hour. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Wow. So Troublemaker. Would you call that orange or brown? Oops. Hour. I don't know what category to put it under. Maybe brown. Maybe brown. Yeah, Troublemaker, Sepia Hour. It's an interesting one. The last ink is not a fountain pen ink. This is for dip pens only, because like look at how thick that is. Really, really interesting. Now I don't normally use calligraphy inks like this, but I thought I'd give it a try and see what this is going to turn out like on this paper. But even the consistency of it, I don't know how I feel. Ooh. Yeah. The consistency of it reminds me of, and I hate even saying this, it reminds me of like the blue version of Pepto-Bismol. If like Pepto-Bismol was blue, is kind of what it reminds me of, and I don't know why. But maybe that's just the thing with calligraphy inks, is that they have that consistency. So I can see why you wouldn't want to put this in an ink or in a fountain pen, because I can see that clogging there. I mean, it's really, really thick and really, really pigmented. Cleaning out my Speedball B nib here very well. And then my Kakamori brass nib, like look at just how it goes into those creases here in the ridges of the nib. So this is Troublemaker. And what's this one called? Oh, I know it's not Troublemaker. It's Dominant Industry Alexandrite. Well, that's okay. Dominant Industry Alexandrite. It's definitely different from anything else that I have tried. But yeah, I don't use dip pens on a regular basis, except for, you know, ink hauls and my 30 inks, 30 days, but that is an interesting color. So Dominant Industry Alexandrite, and this is for dip only. Wow, it's a beautiful color, but the consistency of it and just how creamy it looks, I don't know, it's definitely not for me. But let's look at all of these inks dried, because some of them are drying so beautifully. Let's first take a look at Robert Oster Van Pen 86 and look at the shading in that. It is so fun. It's like, it almost reminds me of, what is it called? I cannot remember now. Is it Dominant Industry Autumn Forest, but without the shimmer? That's what it reminds me of. Really pretty. And then Sailor Ink Studio 530 went way more red than I thought it would. Like if you compare it to that, they look very, very different. I mean, that looks closer to that, but the actual ink swatch looks very red. So I'm wondering if in a pen it would look more pink than red. Then we have Dominant Industry Dutch Moorland. Look at the shading and the shimmer in that one. That is so pretty. I don't know how much, oh, there's a little shimmer there in the writing sample. And just a little dusting of shimmer in the line width. I really, really like that one. Then we have Troublemaker Sepia Hour. It's funny when you just look at the nib widths on the writing sample, it just looks brown. But then you go to the ink swatch and there's like orange and pink, and it's beautiful. Really, really interesting. And then last but not least, the Dominant Industry Alexandrite, the dip ink, calligraphy ink. Again, a beautiful color. Like you can see the shading that's happening there, but definitely not for a fountain pen. All right, so that is my most recent ink haul. Not a lot of inks. I'm trying to be really good about not purchasing too much inks, although on fountain pen day, I think I did purchase 3 more. 1, 2, 3, nope, 4. So those will be making an appearance as soon as they arrive. All right, but that is it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you like this video, please leave me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching and have yourselves a great day.